So imagine you're handed a map that looks like this. There's no "you are here" to indicate the starting position, no red X to specify the destination. Well, if you're anything like me, you initially freeze. You probably feel lost, anxious, and you wouldn't really know what to do. But today, I'm here to convince you something I've come to believe recently, that this map resembles each of our lives, and it's our job to find our own red X, even if it's different from other people's or what we previously imagined. Today, I'll share the story of how I've navigated my map so far. 3 facts about me that often surprise people. 1, I was born legally blind in my left eye. 2, I was kicked out of middle school for failing to meet the minimum attendance requirements and forced to be homeschooled for over 3 years. 3, when I entered high school, I was a mere 4 feet, 11 inches, and 75 pounds. Clearly, that's not the typical profile of a successful student or athlete. Yet here I am, a senior at Yale, a 2-time American Ninja Warrior competitor, and an inventor with several patents. How? Well, I certainly didn't plan my way here. Instead, I learned to let the so-called constraints reveal my unique path, rather than forcing myself on a different path that I didn't belong to. You see, we live in a culture obsessed with optimization. From the time we're teenagers, we're told to build a resume, find a major, pick the internship, map the career, as if life were some sort of connected dots puzzles with a predetermined outcome waiting at the end. In fact, systems actively punish exploration at all phases of life. For kids, the freedom of play has been replaced by the pressure to specialize, committing to a single sport long before it's healthy to do so. For students, obsession with GPAs discourages intellectual curiosity and the love of learning. For professionals, rigid demands for linear resumes hinders the very pivots that will lead to growth. We are rewarded for certainty, and we are penalized for exploration. Ambiguity feels like failure. Well, there's a problem with the model we've developed. It assumes we already know where we're going, and most of the time, if we're honest, we don't. Finding a fulfilling job, finding your spouse, finding friends you connect with deeply, or in my case, finding the sport I love, and navigating through debilitating health challenges, all are examples of unknown destinations. As Steve Jobs famously said, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. But if we convince ourselves that we know how the dots ought to connect, we'll spend our whole lives trying to put dots together in this anxious exercise. So, what do we do from there? What if I told you that we should just learn to let the dots fall where they may? What if I told you the answer to that question isn't just philosophical, it's neurological? Embracing uncertainty doesn't just manifest in the paths we choose or risks we take. It also affects the way we think. When your brain is locked in goal-directed thinking, it runs on what neuroscientists call the task-positive network: focused, efficient, targeted. When the destination is known, this can be incredibly efficient because you already know how to get there, and a discrete set of tasks will usually take us there. When the destination is unknown, this same type of thinking becomes a liability and narrows your attention to what you already expect to find. The antidote lies in what's called default mode network. Scientists at UC Santa Barbara have discovered that mind wandering isn't wasted cognitive time. It's when the brain makes its most unexpected connections, draws on distant memories, and generates insight. In other words, the very discomfort we try to escape is what opens up the mind. Certainty narrows attention. Uncertainty expands it. Let me tell you how these concepts played out in my own life. Growing up, athletics felt largely closed off to me. Although I came from an athletic family, medical constraints, particularly severe myopia and high risk of retinal detachment in my left eye, made contact sports unsafe, and debilitating migraines kept me sidelined from many activities. Consequently, my health demanded most of my attention. For nearly 10 years, I detached my strong eye for 4 hours every single day to strengthen my weak eye, preventing me from reading, exercising, and being a full participant during those hours. My migraines, which started at age 5, were even more limited. They came 3 to 4 times per week, each causing excruciating pain near my temples, making me vomit 20 to 30 times and forcing me to lie in complete darkness and absolute silence. I missed dozens of days of school per year and visited countless doctors in a range of specialties, all of whom prescribed medications that didn't provide lasting relief and often came with unpalatable side effects. Probably the worst was severe erosive gastritis, which eroded my stomach lining, caused extreme stomach pain, and also left me unable to eat more than goldfish, Rice Krispies, and bread for nearly a year. I couldn't attend classes regularly, couldn't set social plans with friends, couldn't participate on sports teams, and fell behind academically. So, what did I do? Well, in those times, I often wondered what my future would look like. Could I ever set social plans with friends? Could I ever re-enroll in school and be normal again? Would I ever attend college? How about playing sports? For years, all of those seemed unlikely. What changed? Well, here it is. My migraines were ruling my life, and I found a way to change that. What happened is that even though at the time, homeschooling felt like an unexpected setback, it actually became an opportunity. Time to research, reflect, and tinker. First, I immersed myself in research to understand headaches and where they come from. Then, I explored natural alternatives to medication and was pointed toward trigger point release therapy. What I found, though, pretty quickly, is that there's a problem. That none of the existing products addressed what I was looking for. So, I decided to create something new. Using simple materials like pool noodles, curtain rods, and bicycle kickstands, I began developing a prototype to solve my own health problem. After nearly 100 iterations, I developed a trigger point release tool targeting suboccipital muscles, the muscles at the base of the skull, dramatically changing my life and completely altering the trajectory. It turns out that these muscles often carry tension and cause headaches, especially in the internet age as we're looking down at our phones all the time. Using the device just 3 to 5 minutes a day completely transformed my life. I re-enrolled in school in 9th grade and didn't miss a single day of high school. What once felt limiting, being homeschooled, allowed me to completely regain control over my life and earn 5 US patents on the device I invented. And that's not just to help myself, but to help others too. What about athletics? Well, for athletics, I experienced a similar dynamic. As I said, I wasn't the most athletic growing up, and at 4'11" and severely underweight due to health issues, I wasn't a realistic candidate for many sports in high school. Yet I needed to fulfill the distribution requirement of high school, so I wandered a little bit. By chance, a Ninja Warrior gym opened up near my home, based on NBC's hit show American Ninja Warrior, which I watched obsessively growing up. I decided to give it a try. At first, I was terrible. I placed last in 4 of my first 5 competitions. Undeterred, I poured myself into training, improved significantly, and ultimately applied for the television show. Out of nearly 100,000 applicants, I was selected twice, ultimately becoming a national semifinalist. All it took was curiosity, persistence, and a willingness to let the path unfold, rather than forcing myself on a different path I didn't belong on. And here's what was happening beneath all that. Every time I fell off an obstacle and got back on, I was building something. Not just confidence, skill. And I think we fundamentally misunderstand where this confidence comes from. We tend to think of confidence as a feeling you get before you try something difficult, as if it were a prerequisite. But that's actually not how confidence works. Confidence actually comes from action. I was flat out scared stepping onto the starting platform for my first Ninja Warrior competition. A full audience watched, and I placed dead last. But here's what surprised me. The failure wasn't catastrophic. It was empowering. It taught me exactly where I need to work harder and made me more confident in crafting updated training programs. So, what happened here? Well, I walked away from that competition feeling far more confident than I walked in, even though I failed in unconventional terms. And psychology substantiates this feeling. Psychologist Albert Bandura, who developed social cognitive theory, coined the term self-efficacy, the belief in yourself to execute in a specific set of situations. His research showed that self-efficacy isn't built through reassurance or planning, it's built through mastery experiences, doing hard things in the presence of uncertainty and surviving them. You don't become confident and then take risks. You take risks and confidence falls. And we obsess over the risk of trying and failing. We almost never account for the risk of not trying. That slow accumulation of wonder and regret about what might have been. According to Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman, what we see is that humans systematically underestimate the amount that regret compounds over time when we fail to take action. So, studies of elderly adults consistently show that the regrets they carry most heavily are not the things they tried and failed, but the things that they never attempt at all. And there's an asymmetry here worth noting. The cost of a failed attempt is typically bounded. You lose time, effort, sometimes money or pride. But the cost of attempts not taken is unbounded. It echoes for decades. When you frame uncertainty this way, the calculus changes. This safe path is only safe in the short run. So, be bold. Take the leap. Go where your curiosity and soul is taking you. And don't look to others for permission. You only get one life, and you're in charge of it. And these concepts, they're not just true for individuals. They're true for businesses and organizations as well, as the tension between efficiency and exploration is systemic. Jeff Bezos draws a clear distinction between two types of situations in his 2018 Amazon shareholder letter. When the destination is known, efficiency is the goal. You should optimize and execute. However, when the destination is unknown, efficiency becomes the enemy. In those instances, the biggest discoveries are nonlinear and require exploration. This exploration, he emphasizes, is not random. Rather, it's guided by curiosity, intuition, and conviction. So, here's what I want to say about this. For my story, that concept, guided exploration, is the best description I can offer of what I've been doing my entire life without quite setting out to do it or knowing what it was. My homeschooling guided me toward natural migraine relief I might have never discovered otherwise. My physical limitations guided me toward a sport I might have never tried. You see, in both my life and on the ninja course, obstacles did not block the path. They were the path. So here's what I want to leave you with. The next time you feel that the destination is unknown, when the map is unclear, or the dots don't quite connect, when the efficient path isn't available to you, I want you to resist the reflex to be paralyzed by the unknown. Instead, explore and follow where your curiosity and intuition are guiding you. You don't need to know precisely where you're going. You simply need to make forward progress while trusting that the dots will connect. Remember, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. Thank you.